SEC championship game, Georgia versus Alabama, 4 p.m. on ABC. Bama won 24-21 in Athens. My first reaction to this matchup is this matchup was in, I think it was mid September or late September, one of the two. It was early September. It was week 4 or 5, I believe. No, I'm wrong. Anyway, beside the point. How much does September matter? Because we are now in December, so that was about 10 weeks ago.
It was
So
late
how much?
September.
Okay, whatever. And so how much does that matter? Well, in the first matchup, Alabama was completely surgical with their pass game. It was just incredible. I think Ty Simpson was 14-26 in the first half. They didn't really do a lot in the second half. Bama's the number 17 pass offense. Georgia's the 44 pass defense. And third down was a big thing. I don't have Alabama's third down stats in front of me, but Georgia was 2 of 8 on third down, 6 penalties for 68 yards. And they're both top 30 in third down offense. So if Georgia's a little bit better on third down, can flip the factors in this game. I also think Gunnar Stockton has to have a better game than he did. And Gunner's progressed a lot this year. He's gotten a lot better. It was kind of a bad performance against Georgia Tech. I'm kind of going to push that to the side and look at Texas because I think it kind of profiles a little more like Texas recently. I think if Gunner makes a couple more plays and Georgia gets a similar run game to what they had, I mean, they ran for 227. And so Bama's not going to be able to run the ball. They didn't run it in the first matchup. Georgia's got a top 10 run defense, so they're not going to be able to run it then. And Georgia's kind of seemed like they're starting to peak at the right time. The Georgia Tech matchup obviously wasn't great. I'm sorry. And the the thing for Georgia is you saw pass pro be a problem for Alabama last week. Well, Georgia's pass rush kind of non-existent earlier in the year. It's been incredibly good recently. They had Haynes King under pressure, Arch Manning under pressure. The go Mississippi State, they had Shapen under pressure. So they had all these quarterback. They've really gotten in these quarterback faces and at least caused havoc. And if Alabama can't have the pass pro that they did the first time in this game, because I don't believe Georgia sacked them the first time around, it's going to be a similar result. For Alabama, Georgia has the 44th pass defense. Alabama has this 17th pass offense. Again, it was extremely precise in the pass game. They held Gunner to 130 yards the first game, but I don't know about you, but it feels like Alabama's running out of gas, and both these teams are incredibly beat up. It's bad. Like Cuevas is out. I think was it C.J. Allen was out for or came back from injury for Georgia last week. So both these teams are just trying to paperclip and duct tape their way together, and hopefully they'll have 11 guys on the field at the same time or at one time for the game on Saturday. But it's kind of who can stay healthier, and the injury situation kind of makes this game a little murkier to me.
You touched on the third downs in the first matchup. I think that's going to play a huge factor. Bama's been one of the best teams on third down offensively this year, and going 13 of 19 is fantastic. It's unbelievable. And I look at this. Kirby is 1-7 against Alabama as the head coach of the Georgia football team. The lone win coming back in the 2018 national title game, I think is what it was.
Yeah. It was a national title. I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
2022 national title. And so, can they exercise the demons? Because that's got to be a massive elephant in the room for Kirby, sitting there knowing that you are historically not great against Bama. Even when Bama hasn't been the greatest, they've sometimes or somehow been able to eke out a win. And so at this point, I think you look at the trajectories of the teams. I think Bama's on their way down. They've looked iffy the past couple of weeks. And Georgia's on the way up. You saw what they did to Texas a couple weeks ago. The Georgia Tech game, rivalry weeks are hard to get a good read on, just because the level of play is so much different than what like a normal game would be. And given this is kind of a little bit of a pretty good rivalry we got going on here between Bama and Georgia, but how does the trajectory of the teams and then the history play a factor into this game? Does Ty Simpson lead Bama's offense to another insane third down performance? Are they able to just stay on the field? And then you look at the penalties in the first one. Bama only had 4 penalties for 16 yards, where Georgia got 6 for 68. So who can play cleaner, and who's going to be able to keep the ball longer? I think Simpson's going to have to throw for 300.
The
Jam Miller.
problem with that, well, Jam Miller, I believe, is hurt, and if he is, he's not going to play a lot. If he is playing in this game, he's going to not be healthy. Josh Cuevas is out for Bama. I think the injuries are kind of hurting Alabama more in this game, and the where the deep pass game has been non-existent for Bama because it's just not precise. They're not hitting the deep ball like they were early in the season. And so it feels like Simpson's just a tick off. And, their superstar receiver, Ryan Williams, isn't there. I think Jeremy Bernard and Isaiah Horton can flip a game on their head. But I think those are the game changers. But, and you watch the game for the Bama game for Auburn, they broke a couple plays for like 50 yards rack. And so who can do that for Georgia? Probably Zachariah Branch, if I had to guess. So, and we talked about in the Texas game. I don't know what the stat is now, but in the Texas game, Georgia was number 1 in throws behind the line of scrimmage. So how downhill are these DBs getting? And can they tackle in space? I think that's going to be a huge thing. I think the receiver play in this game is going to be massive. And so it kind of goes back to third downs. Are those receivers able to get in space and fight for that extra yard? Even though these teams are incredibly beat up, I can't stress that enough. This game is to fight for an extra week and a half, 2 weeks of rest. So, and that's kind of where we are. That's kind of where we are right now. So, and whoever wins this game is getting a first round bye.